Never underestimate the power of doing something wrong. I wish I could take a lesson with Victor, that's for sure. He has a very different approach to teaching and learning. It is better to have a question you cannot answer than an answer you cannot question. Let me know in the comments what you think about that one. So this is the third and final installment in my series, which I talk about The Spirit of Music by Victor Wooten. This is a sequel to his first book, The Music Lesson. I have 4 or 5 videos on this book. I'll place links of the first 2 videos for this book and the videos for this book at the bottom. Feel free to take a look. If you like music theory as presented by somebody who is a very good player and also a very good music theorist, musician, then I highly recommend both books. Also, if you like fiction, a little bit of fantasy in there, I highly recommend these books as well. Victor Wooten presents music theory in these books through fiction and allegory and fantasy and different kinds of certainly a different kind of writing than your typical music theory book. So you'll get lots of music theory, but in the format, in the form of a story. So I really enjoyed both books. And in today's video, just a little tea. In today's video, the last one for this book here, I'm simply going to share some direct quotes from the book. Not too much though, I don't give away too much. I'm basically going to, one thing I love a lot about both books is the subtitles for each chapter. So I'm going to read the actual subtitle for each chapter and then a short quote from that chapter, and then let you decide if this is the kind of book you want to take a look at. So chapter 1, or the first measure as he calls it, has the subtitle, well, the title is Parents Know Best, but the subtitle is Never Say What You're Not Going to Do, because that is your first step toward doing it. So think about that one for a second. And a very short quote from that, a very short quotation from that chapter. How do you get a musician to complain? Give him a gig. That's pretty funny. And chapter 2, or measure 2, titled The Teacher, the subtitle is When the teacher is ready, the student will appear. And short paragraph from this chapter. My use of an instrument, any instrument, allows you to hear how musical I am, but I express my musicality through the instrument, any one I choose. Again, I play music, and once you stop playing your bass, you might start playing music too. And chapter 3, or measure 3, titled Artism, the subtitle is Sometimes Confusion is the Doorway to Clarity. And a short paragraph from that chapter. Life is always on your side, baby boy. When your goal is to truthfully help someone, you will be given the opportunity to do so. Their truth will be opened up to you, and you will know exactly what to do with it. Chapter 4, measure 4, titled A Brother from Another Motherland. And the subtitle is All Dreams Are Important. Short paragraph from there. It's on page 59. Techniques can refer to tools, fingerings, or methods. One can even have techniques for learning techniques. Playing the same piece of music while changing techniques can change everything. That was also a revelation for me. Measure 5, or chapter 5, titled A Surreal Trip, subtitled There Are No Wrong Turns, when you don't know where you're going. I love that subtitle. Very cool. Kind of short paragraph there from this chapter. Musicians have power that other people don't. Imagine if a policeman tells people to raise their hand in the air, or a politician tells them to do it, people might refuse or feel forced to respond. But if a musician tells everybody to raise their hands, everyone will do it willingly. Measure 6, chapter 6, titled Opposites Attract, subtitled I no longer believed him. I knew he was right. This one's a little bit longer of a paragraph. It's a little bit of a dialogue. This is on page 98. Even we tune together before we play. This is a person with English as a second language, so the words are inverted on purpose in the writing here. So they should have said, we even tune together before we play. Wow, tuning. That's also an agreement, isn't it? I'd never thought about it like that. Yes, the band is better when everyone listens to each other, right? That's right, I answered, excited by the new ideas. We listen to each other, support each other, and take turns speaking or playing. I don't even know what to play until I listen to what you play. Yes, my brother, think about this. The band is better when all instruments are different. Exactly, I added. In a band, we celebrate our differences. We don't compete with each other. Measure 7 or chapter 7, titled The Beat of a Different Drummer, subtitled Sometimes what you don't hear is more important than what you do hear. We were surprised. Her style was unique. She definitely had the beat of a different drummer. Her rhythms were amazing, and like her accent, they were obviously from another continent. She continued playing without saying a word. Once she stopped, she became animated and very talkative. Measure 8 or chapter 8, titled Her Story, one word, Her Story, and subtitled Coincidences are life's way of whispering. Accidents are life's way of shouting. This is on page 130. To Seiko, that's a person, recognizing only 5 senses demonstrates only a basic level of understanding. Her expanded version includes the sense of emotion and feeling, imagination and creativity, as well as belief and knowing. She also said that most people were already aware of their sense of time, direction, balance, and fear, but didn't think of them as real senses. She explained that we are born with these senses and that our lives would not exist as we know it without them. Measure 9, chapter 9, titled Toward the Light, subtitled If I Was Still Alive, I wasn't sure how happy I was about it. This time it was Michael's voice that spoke to me. Try easy, my friend, try easy. Everyone in my past had always told me to try harder. Michael's advice had been counterintuitive, but worked when I was with him. I took a deep breath, held it for a few seconds, and let it out slowly, and then her voice returned. Measure 10, chapter 10, titled Homecoming, subtitled In Letting Go, I Found Myself. And let me find that paragraph. Here it goes on page 151. I'd always been told that my life was in my hands. At that moment, it wasn't true. Yes, I still had my life, but there was nothing left to do with it. This was the end. All emotions seemed to fade away as I simply gave up or gave in, if there's a difference. Relinquishing all ties to my existence, I exhaled and sank deep into the mattress. Gazing off into nowhere, I apologized once again. Measure 11, titled First Lesson, subtitled Teaching Completes the Circle of Knowledge. I wish I could take a lesson with Victor, that's for sure. He has a very different approach to teaching and learning. Here's a short quote from page 163 at the bottom. According to Michael, certain songs resonate differently with different people. If we can find the right songs and match them with the right people, miracles will happen. And measure 12, chapter 12, titled Prepare, but it's spelled Pre-pair, prepare, and subtitled Never Underestimate the Power of Doing Something Wrong. So the paragraph here is on page 188. Hey, lighten up, dude. Babies fall, but they get back up every time. It's through failing that they eventually learn to walk. So if you want to improve at anything, be accepting of your mistakes. Believe it or not, even I make mistakes. This is Michael talking. I know it's hard for you to believe, but I am human sometimes. Chapter 13, titled Time Signature, subtitled Time is a Suggestion, not a Rule. Page 200. If you listen closely, all the instruments in this house sound the same. They are silent. They do not make a sound until we touch them. That should make it clear where the music is really coming from. Music comes through you, not the instrument. Be musical first. Join with her. Feel her. Most of all, stop waiting. Even if you never touch an instrument in your life, be musical. We cannot afford to wait any longer. Measure 14, chapter 14, titled One for All, and it's spelled W-O-N, One for All, and subtitled Sometimes Remaining Silent is the Best Way to Lead. Without tuning it first, he began gently plucking the ukulele. Today is ukulele, it's a National Ukulele Day, so that's why I chose this paragraph. Today is January the 2nd, and apparently it's a National Ukulele Day. So here's the paragraph again. Without tuning it first, he began gently plucking the ukulele. The instrument was barely audible with all the extraneous noise in the room. Then magic happened. Michael continued playing without increasing his volume. Like smoke filtering through a room, his music slowly consumed everything and everyone. Measure 15, chapter 15, titled A Storefront, subtitled If You Can't Convince Them, Confuse Them. Measure 16, titled All-1, and here's the subtitle, All People Need to Be Loved. Amen to that. I wished I'd been chosen to play the kalimba. Me too. I do have at least a couple of videos featuring a kalimba. I'll place links at the bottom if you want to take a look. Measure 17, titled Revelation, the subtitled, If you venture down the rabbit hole, at least venture down the rabbit hole. A yin-yang symbol appeared in front of me. A treble clef was in the top half and a bass clef in the bottom. The symbol began rotating slowly, allowing me to notice the treble clef becoming a bass clef as it turned upside down. As the yin-yang picked up speed, rotating faster and faster, the clefs combined, turning into one clef consisting of both clefs at once. It's difficult to imagine and even more difficult to describe. Measure 18, titled M-Pulse, subtitled No Method is Sometimes the Best Method. And the very first paragraph in the chapter, that was the first time I'd ever been rewarded for not listening. I wasn't sure what had just happened. Being with Michael was often like being in school. The difference? A lot of students don't like their teachers and can't wait for their lessons to end. It was the opposite for me. Now that I'm a graduate, where do I go from here? Measure 19, chapter 19, titled The Second Ending, subtitled If at first you don't succeed, fail again. And again, the first paragraph in that chapter, I stood on the street corner with a 4-stringed weapon in hand. I plugged it into my portable amp and took aim, ready to drop a bomb on Music City, one that unites and causes people to feel more love. Tonight, I was Cupid, my bass as my bow, and music as my arrow. And the last section of the book is titled, Who is Michael? Michael is a character in both books. And the subtitle there is, I love this. Listen. It is better to have a question you cannot answer than an answer you cannot question. Let me read that again. It is better to have a question you cannot answer than an answer you cannot question. Now, let me know in the comments what you think about that one. And short paragraph from that section. Who is Michael? You are curious about me. I like that. But instead of wondering who I am and if I'm real, why not ask yourself who you are and if you are real? Those are the important questions. When you can answer them clearly and honestly, you'll have a better understanding of who I am. But to indulge your curiosity, I will play along for a little while. And then he goes on for a couple of pages. And here is the closing of the entire book. And it says, Who is Michael? You have asked, and I have answered. I am as real as you imagine me to be. Now, it is time for you to answer the most important question. Who are you? And that's how the book ends. So I highly recommend both of these books. Victor Wooten, The Music Lesson. Victor Wooten, The Spirit of Music. And if you have any questions or comments about any of these, let me know in the bottom, in the comment section. I've enjoyed these so much that I'm probably going to read them both again. They're that good. They don't read like your typical music theory book nor novel. It's a mixture of everything. So it's a very fresh, different way to write a book. So I'm really enjoying that part. Yeah, so let me know if you have any questions or comments. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't seen the previous ones, feel free to look at the links below. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day and see you next time. Bye-bye.